Hey guys, it's Rob here and welcome back to another video. So in this video we do have some more Nintendo Switch 2 leaks. So we're going to talk about that as well and where we could see that. If you guys end up enjoying this video, leave a like, it helps the video reach more viewers when you do, and of course subscribe for more Nintendo Switch 2 leaks. Especially since there should be a lot of Nintendo Switch leaks that people get their hands on over the course of the next 5 years because it's a new Nintendo Switch system. So the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be coming out in about 50 days. It's been pretty exciting but also a little bit disappointing with the price and the pre-order situation, and overall it is pretty hectic. But if there's one thing I can say about all of this is that I am excited for the future of the Nintendo Switch 2. Whenever I finally get my hands on the next console, it's going to be pretty exciting, you know, new games, new systems, just a new generation. And with the new generation comes new games, and that's also true for Metroid games. While Metroid Prime 4 is still a little ways off, it seems that we might be getting a Metroid 2D project. Now this isn't the first time he came out and said stuff like this. 2 months ago, some of the stuff has popped up again as well. Reminder, new 2D Metroid might be coming in 2025 according to Spanish leaker Nash Weedle, who successfully leaked Metroid Dread in 2021. And keep in mind the new information that we're talking about here when it comes to this Metroid 2D game is also from Nash Weedle too, so it's from the very same source. Now this is what he said about that because it does have to do with this new game. He says, "I love revisiting old tweets. The truth is at that point in 2020 I had a lot of information, but the confirmation came a couple months before the game's reveal. What I love most about this is now when I tell you 2D MS 2025 and give you a thumbs up." So basically he's saying there's going to be a 2D Metroid Prime in 2025, and that means it should be releasing in 2025 apparently. Now we will talk a little bit on when we can actually see this game revealed, but we're not going to do it just yet. Let's get to the core information now. Metroid 2D projected for release in 2025 may be delayed. I think it would be strange to release the game beyond 2025 because the original goal was to release on Switch 1, but the layoffs at 505 Games appear to have affected the other joint project with Mercury Steam, disrupting the studio's planning. Would you like to see the next 2D Metroid come out on Switch 1? Now there are a couple of things you have to keep in mind here. Metroid Prime 4 still doesn't have a release date, so if a new 2D Metroid game is going to be announced and released in 2025 despite whatever this delay is, it wouldn't be released before Metroid Prime 4's release date. Another factor here is the June Nintendo Direct. We still don't know if Nintendo's going to end up doing a June Nintendo Direct, or are they going to wait a little bit longer after June until we get that big explosion of games when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2, especially since the Nintendo Switch 2 releases on June 5th. Though if I was Nintendo, I would still hold that June Nintendo Direct in the back half of the month so that it stands as a marketing point for the Nintendo Switch 2. It gives people a lot of games to look forward to and stuff that people actually want to play on the Nintendo Switch 2, which is a reason to buy the Nintendo Switch 2, which would only increase the want for the actual system itself. So if we do end up getting a June Nintendo Direct, I expect a release date for Metroid Prime 4 to be revealed during that June Nintendo Direct. As to when the release date for Metroid Prime 4 would happen, I'm guessing in the back half of this year, so maybe sometime around holiday season. I feel like that's a perfect time for Metroid Prime 4 because it's very clear that Metroid Prime 4 isn't a launch title for the Nintendo Switch 2. I feel like if it was a launch title for the Nintendo Switch 2, then Metroid Prime 4 would probably have been announced for its release date during that Nintendo Switch 2 reveal. When you add in the fact that people are already able to play this game, the influencers that are going over to the Nintendo Switch 2 event and people who get into that, it's probably pretty ready, so holiday season feels like a good time to release it, especially since we have Mario Kart World on launch and all of the Zelda stuff. We also have GameCube on the Nintendo Switch Online service, and then of course all the third-party games that are going to be announced for the Nintendo Switch 2 during June. Remember, Nintendo's not the only one who has the showcase, so more than likely it's going to be a holiday release. Now if that is true, or not true, if that happens I should say, we can assume that this Metroid 2D game is going to release sometime between now and also when Metroid Prime 4 releases, so sometime in like September or November. Because by then, after the June Nintendo Direct, Nintendo's gonna have the next 6 months set up like they always do. If you noticed in all of their Nintendo Direct tweets, usually they say, hey, this is for the next 6 months. And then of course, 6 months pass, January, February happens, another 6 months, and then of course we roll around to June again, and the cycle continues. It's a little wonky with the Nintendo Switch 2, but that's essentially what happens. So I think this Metroid 2D game could be revealed at that Nintendo Direct. If you guys remember, Metroid Dread was revealed during that Nintendo Direct during E3 2021. It was on June 15th, and then later released 5 months later. Now, the stuff I just said, of course, you have to factor in this supposed delay, according to Nash Weedle, because you have to wonder, why would they release a 2D Metroid game in November and then also, or at least around November, and then also release Metroid Prime 4. You wouldn't do that, right? That'd be way too close to each other. Well, this is where this delay comes in. More than likely, we were probably going to see this 2D Metroid Prime, if it even existed anyways, during that Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct. That's more than likely what would have happened, and we probably would have had it very, very soon before the June Nintendo Direct, or maybe it was even a launch game. And then maybe this delay ended up happening, and we just didn't get it during that Nintendo Direct. Now the question is, when could they release that, and when does Metroid Prime 4 release then? Well, we know that Nintendo is no stranger to holding on to games. More than likely, they're even holding on to the Wind Waker games. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, last we heard, they were holding on to those, and Nintendo recently came out and said that, yeah, Wind Waker games are still on the table. All of these other remasters, ports, and stuff, even if they're on the Nintendo Switch Online service, those are also still on the table. So Nintendo probably does have a lot of remasters and ports that they're just stacking up. In fact, if I remember correctly, there was a rumor about that, now that I think about it. So Nintendo is really no stranger to holding on to games, so this is probably one of those games that they're holding on to whenever they're going to be able to release it. I still think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be a holiday season game. I really don't see why you would just wait onto that. By then, Mario Kart sales would have exploded. It's been a couple months after that. It's a good way to fill in more spots on your games. And also, it gives you a lot of time to get together a Metroid Prime 4 Nintendo Direct in between, which is just another marketing point for not only the Nintendo Switch 2, but also the game itself. Creating another point in the time between now and Christmas for a marketing point for that holiday season. So I think that hasn't changed. I don't think there's going to be any internal delay on that. But as far as this 2D Metroid Prime game goes, when could that release? Well, according to Nash Weedle, Metroid Prime 2 projected to release in 2025 may be delayed. He says may be delayed. That is a very key thing here. If it is still up in the air that it may not be delayed, then they could still release this game and they could very well just stealth drop it. If you guys remember, the Metroid series is no stranger to stealth dropping games. They stealth dropped the Metroid Prime 1 remaster, remember that. So what could really happen is we get that June Nintendo Direct and Nintendo just says, hey, this game is out now. In fact, I feel like that would actually be a pretty perfect scenario because that would give enough time for the game to collect sales, leading up to Metroid Prime 4's release date in sometime in November, whatever they're going to be doing with that. Or who knows, maybe they already have another holiday season game planned during that June Nintendo Direct, and maybe they'll have that maybe later in the month, or maybe Metroid Prime 4 will get delayed. It doesn't have a release date, so we don't really know. Though the fact that people are playing it, like I said before, I don't think it's going to be delayed. If it's actually playable by people, I don't think they would delay it. Could be wrong, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about all that in the comment section below. Do you think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be delayed? Do you think it's going to come out during holiday season? What do you think on that aspect of the video? And also, what do you think about a 2D Metroid Prime, or not Metroid Prime game, 2D Metroid game? Do you think that's going to be coming out soon? Do you think Nintendo will stealth drop it? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. And if not, on your way out, make sure you subscribe for more videos and also have that notification bell on. And if you want to support the channel in any other way, there is my Patreon and Twitter account in the pinned comment if you're interested in those. Oh, and also have this donut if you're still sticking around for me rambling. Thanks for watching, guys, and remember, stay safe, stay charged, and have a good one.